Welcome to Improvement Science in a Minute. I'm Brandon Bennett, and today we'll be digging deeper into understanding variation with a focus on the use of ordered bar charts and Pareto analysis. The Improvement Science in a Minute web module series is brought to you by the SELPA System Improvement Leads project in partnership with Improvement Science Consulting. Our learning objective for this module includes being able to differentiate variation between categories and variation unfolding over time, as well as understanding and interpreting ordered bar charts and Pareto charts. Understanding variation is a central component of learning how to improve a system. What variation is important, unimportant to pay attention to? Where is performance doing well in our system? Where is it struggling? Where do inequities exist in our system? Where have we managed to close the gaps? In order to answer these questions and gain objective insights into where to target our improvement efforts, we need methods for understanding variation. The use of ordered bar charts in general, and Pareto analysis in particular, provide us with such methods and can help guide us toward productive investments in our systems. Let's start by taking a look at ordered bar charts. Variation can be understood visually in two ways: by comparison between different categories at a single point in time, or by comparison to previous time periods. In this session, we will focus on categories at a single point in time. To learn more about time series analysis, see our module on the use of run charts. Ordered bar charts help in the rapid sense-making needed when comparing data across various categories. It is not uncommon that an improvement team will want to compare data from across locations, individuals, classrooms, or some other category of interest. What does an ordered bar chart look like? At first, it is just two axes. There's a vertical axis that indicates the measurement of interest, as well as a horizontal axis indicating the categories. The chart is built from data connected to each category, as can be observed in the table here. So a first step before we can make the chart is to collect connected, relevant data. The next step is to order the data based on the measure of interest, either from greatest to least or least to greatest. You can see the example here on the screen. After the data is ordered from greatest to least or least to greatest, plot the data on the chart, as seen on the bar chart on the left. Ultimately, an ordered bar chart contains these distinguishing characteristics. The data displayed for each category was collected during the same time period. That could be during a single week, or a month, or for a given year. The data is displayed for a measure of interest that the improvement team is interested in examining. There is only one bar for each category of data, and data categories are organized by order of magnitude according to the measure of interest. We use a chart like this one to quickly visualize the variation occurring in our systems. In many instances, such a visualization can help a team quickly identify a category to learn from or a category to target in their improvement effort. The California Department of Education dashboard reports on a variety of metrics for each school and for every district in the state. Mathematics performance in high schools is one of them. In this example, a medium-sized school district with 7 high schools might be concerned that Hispanic students, a large segment of their student population, is not achieving the standards set by the state for learning math. An ordered bar chart was created to help visualize the variation in performance across their 7 schools. When viewed, the chart quickly reveals important differences which the district would want to investigate, learn from, and potentially use to target improvement efforts. For example, all schools in the district are underperforming for Hispanic students, and indeed for all students, as indicated by the dashboard. There is wide variation in performance for Hispanic students across the district. School E seems to exhibit the best performance of the 7 schools for Hispanic students. The students at that school seem to do twice as well as those attending School F or A. District leaders might want to investigate why such a disparity in performance exists across their district. The ordered bar chart might point them at where deeper learning and investigation could occur at either end of the performance spectrum, and where they may want to start with an improvement journey to close this equity gap in the district. Take a moment to pause this video and reflect on these questions. Improvement of systems is all about learning, and the crafting of learning questions is a critical step in building understanding about where and how to change a system to accomplish the improvements desired. Identify a learning question that could be answered using a point-in-time analysis like an ordered bar chart. Examples include: what is the variation in graduation rate by school? What is the variation in performance by school for college and career readiness? What is the variation in performance for mathematics outcomes for African American students across schools in the district? How might you access the data necessary to create the chart? Welcome back. I'd like you to pause again to continue your reflection. It can be very helpful when starting toward using measurement for improvement to formulate the learning questions that can inform improvement. Sketch the chart that can answer those questions, and craft the database that can create the chart. Even a simple sketch can greatly ease the burden of figuring out how to use measures for improvement. Welcome back. Let's continue to our discussion, zooming in on the use of Pareto charts. The Pareto chart is a very useful form of the ordered bar chart. It adds a new dimension to the analysis of categorical data, incorporating the cumulative percent contribution of each category. By displaying both the frequency of a category as well as the magnitude of contribution to the whole, it eases the interpretation of the data, quickly highlighting which categories to focus on in understanding frequency data. It is usually used to understand various types of problems or failures which might be contributing to the outcomes observed in a system. Like all ordered bar charts, Pareto charts contain a primary measure of interest. This measure is almost always a frequency count of occurrences for the category selected. Pareto charts also plot categorical data ordered by that frequency. The bars on a Pareto chart represent the frequency count for the categories listed, while the line portion of the graph represents the cumulative percent of all the categories listed. When interpreting Pareto charts, it is very important to remember that while the chart can tell a team which category of data occurs most frequently, the chart by itself doesn't have the ability to say whether a category is important or not. Only the people who work in the system that produce the data can do that. For example, while illness might be the most common category for why students don't attend school, it may not be the most important to target for improvement when trying to reduce absenteeism. Perhaps focusing on other causes would be more valuable. For example, food security for students or transportation needs, circumstances depending. Here are some examples of where Pareto charts can be useful for investigating educational systems. They can be useful for understanding reasons for an office referral for discipline, or from absence from school. They might also be useful for understanding which tasks to prioritize for students after an analysis of developmental reading assessments. When using Pareto charts, it is important to be careful to use enough data, ideally 30 or more data points, and to ensure when interpreting frequency data that the data collected comes from a stable system. If the data doesn't come from a stable system, as in example 2, the analysis indicated on the chart could mislead an improvement team toward trying to redesign a system based on something that is an aberration in the system's performance, rather than a regularly occurring cause. Here, a team focused solely on the Pareto chart analysis might be tempted to work to reduce the frequency of category I, when in reality the most recent data does not appear to represent what is regularly expected from the system with regards to category I, as indicated in the connected run chart. With knowledge of the run chart, a better course of action would be to try and understand why there was a sudden jump in the frequency of category I before any action is taken to try to redesign the system as a whole. Contrast this with example 1, where redesigning the systems to reduce the occurrence of categories H, F, and J, assuming they are stable like category I, would be helpful in reducing the overall occurrence of causes of poor performance in a sustained way into the future. A final example, looking at student absence by type. Here we can see that hunger, a food insecure household, has the greatest frequency account for the student population in explaining why they are absent from school, followed by illness, and then acting as childcare in their families. Something like this can be used by district or school-based leaders to strategize which interventions are most likely to best serve the needs of their students and to reduce absenteeism in their schools. Take a moment to pause this video and reflect on these questions. It can be very helpful when starting toward using measurement for improvement to formulate the learning questions that can inform improvement, sketch the chart that can answer those questions, and craft the database that can create the chart. Even a simple sketch can greatly ease the burden of figuring out how to use measures for improvement. Interested in learning more about improvement science? Visit our website at systemimprovement.org. The Improvement Science in a Minute web module series is brought to you by the SELPA System Improvement Leads project in partnership with Improvement Science Consulting. The SIL project is a collaboration grant project between El Dorado County Office of Education SELPA, West San Gabriel Valley SELPA, and Riverside County SELPA. The SIL project is supported by the California Department of Education and the California Collaborative for Educational Excellence. The SELPA Systems Improvement Leads project seeks to increase positive outcomes for students with disabilities by inspiring special education local plan areas and local education agencies to engage in a culture of continuous improvement. The SIL team is committed to connecting SELPAs and LEAs throughout the state to resources with a focus on data use and governance, continuous improvement methodologies, and high leverage practices. We are innovating with equity in mind to promote excellent educational outcomes for each and every student. Thank you for watching.